Hello and welcome to reactice. Our mission and passion are to share our thinking with you and link research and practice. We focus on a topical leadership or management issue in a short, lively, unscripted debate. Thank you for joining the session, and we are going to discuss a very important topic today: leadership development. It's not about impact. Our industry is heavily characterized by rankings, numbers, and I often ask this question: why the obsession with impact? Why the obsession with quantifying? Well, do we really quantify love? Do we quantify well-being or happiness? Lester, I would be very interested in your views. You have certainly spent more time in the industry than me and worked with clients more than me. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, thank you, Imran. Well, I've not tried to quantify love, happiness and well-being, not so far, but I know where you're coming from. And I think as developers of leaders, an interesting different start point is just to think about the learning methodologies, technologies and processes we use to develop leaders in the first place. And if we get those right, then we've got a very good chance of the outcomes being right too, in terms of what the leaders are then able to do. So I think that's one point I would make. I think the other point I would make, Imran, is there's an interesting framework I've drawn upon in my work with leaders, and it's very simple. It's getting it right, doing it well, making it stick. And what this means is when we are doing some kind of program, then we should spend about a third of our effort in each of those parts. So getting it right is about why are we doing the program in the first place? What's the rationale? What's the needs of the business? Who are the target population? What's the kind of culture of the organization? How does the program link to strategy? All of that stuff to make sure that we've got the architecture and the foundation in place for the program. The doing it well is the delivery. That's the easy bit. If you've done all the planning and the preparation, delivering it should be really, really straightforward. But it's somewhere where, in my experience, we put too much of the attention. We forget the getting it right, and we forget the third bit, which is actually making it stick. And making it stick is to make sure that we have those processes in place to help the leaders apply, embed, and actually use their learning.
And if I try to summarize what you're saying, I'm remembering and recalling Malcolm Knowles from 1980s when he discusses andragogy. And he has laid down a list of 4 principles. And pretty much what you're saying, getting it right, doing it well, making it stick, is identified in the 4 principles that Knowles gave around andragogy. And the first principle is adults want or need to be involved in how their development is planned, delivered, and executed. They need to pull past experiences into learning. They have a desire to use reasoning to process the information being shared with them. And finally, Knowles talks about how can they use this information now. And more we are seeing these points kick into the process when we are working with executives, with organizations. Lester, do you feel the same?
I do. I think it's right what you said. And I think you sparked another thought in my mind, is that it's certainly in the UK, in my view, there's always an overemphasis on what people are going to do next week as a result of attending a program. The emphasis on action, action, action. And I certainly think when you're working with more senior leaders, there should be an equal emphasis on how am I going to be as a leader? How am I going to show up as a leader? And also on my thinking. How am I going to think in a different way as a leader? And I think they're actually genuinely hard to quantify. There's a wonderful quotation by the late Steve Jobs, who said when he looked back at his life, it was about joining the dots, looking backwards, and then things made sense. And I think it's a little bit like that with leadership development. Sometimes something we do today is a result of some learning we did several years ago that at the time we couldn't actually quantify. But suddenly it comes together, it coalesces, and it's useful in some way.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.
Bye.